Alright, so this is kind of be my review of the PlayStation Portal. I'm not endorsed by anything in any way, shape, or form. This is just kind of like my honest, just personal review. I've had it for a couple months now. Um, they're really, really, really tricky to get initially. Scalpers got a hold of them, were selling them for more. You couldn't find them anywhere. But now they're kind of back to normal price. You can find people selling used ones for under $200, which is really good. So chances are, you can probably obtain one of these fellas for not an atrocious price tag. Um, Obviously, I bought mine brand new. I kept waiting and waiting and waiting until I can find it brand new. I didn't want anything other than brand new, just because I'd like to take care of my things. I'm really particular about it. The biggest thing about these things is this is a whole unit. Like, you can't replace like the controller. If the controller breaks or something like that, you're gonna have to find somebody or find a way to repair the whatever's in it in and of itself. You can't just go out, buy another controllers and slap them on, kind of like how a Nintendo Switch or other handhelds work. um it's surprisingly like lightweight. That was probably one of my favorite things about it. Sometimes I lay back in bed with this thing and I'll have like my arms propped up or what have you, and I'll be honest, I didn't get really like fatigued or anything about using it. They've dropped a lot of updates on this fella to improve its connectivity, to improve like how it functions, yada yada yada. The biggest thing that they've been working on with all the updates is increasing its stability over like hotspots, certain networks, things like that. Now, when I first got this thing on my home network, it worked perfectly fine, like flawless. I'm on my home network right now. It's pretty crisp, as you guys can see. There's no latency. I'll even show you guys here real quick. Gonna be a little hard, but I got my TV right here. A lot of people show the latency on it, but if you have a really, 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 really good connection, there's none. Um, Now, probably my biggest gripe about it is when I'm at work, for some reason it doesn't like the Wi-Fi there. So like right now it's playing in probably a crisp 1080p. It's gonna have no problems running whatever I load up on it. You know what I mean? But and at work I would be maybe 15 feet away from the router, and it was behind, I believe, a metal gate or something like that, but just, not that insanely far away from it, and it just for whatever reason would have problems. It would drop the 60 FPS to 30. It would go from 1080p to 720 to 480p, and there was no reason for it. Like, it'd have a full connection. My PlayStation 5 is hardwired. Like, there was no need for it to be having any kind of problems, honestly. Which really, really kind of irked me. I'm like, I shouldn't be having problems. I could understand if I had like 2 bars of cell service and I was out in my car. I could understand if I was having problems then. But just it's kind of picky with routers sometimes. Certain technologies behind the routers it just doesn't like. Sony has been actively updating those settings, making them a lot more compatible, friendly, if you will. There's a lot of things that they've been doing to improve on it, and with a bunch of the updates, I've definitely noticed that it's been improved, but it hasn't been like 100% solidified yet. So just be wary of that. I really love this unit. I really love the fact that I can play all my favorite PS5 games. Ironically, it's the PlayStation Portal. Sony's been releasing a lot of PSP games. So ironically, you can play your PSP games on your PSP just like the olden days when you had a PSP. which is fucking hilarious if you ask me. For some reason, I noticed like higher resolution games have problems. Ghost of Tsushima, I was playing that game quite a bit. Um, I actually platinumed it on this unit, and I did it mostly on freaking lunch breaks, which I was very, very happy for. Um, the resolution would tank quite a bit. It wasn't super enjoyable all the time, and that game is a really, really, really pretty game. So when the internet's jacked up or it's just not having a good time or whatever, it just really sucks when the quality is like super, super diminished. But I've noticed for some reason, if you're playing like a PS2 game or a PSP game on this thing, it just doesn't really care as much. I'm assuming there's not as much video quality being transmitted. These games run mostly off of 1080p. They don't require a lot of hardware power. So I'm gonna just assume that it's just something with the quality of the game that you're playing has a little bit to do with that, which I've noticed not a lot of people are talking about. People, like, there's a lot of videos where people are playing Spider-Man 2. They're not really saying anything. They're not really saying they're having any issues, but I just gotta say, so if you play AAA games on this thing all the time and you're expecting to function off of, work Wi-Fi or hotspot Wi-Fi, you're probably not gonna have the best time if you're expecting to play constant AAA games. But if you play games that aren't as quality intensive, or if you lower the resolution of the game, that can help. There's a lot of forums that talk about if you like unplug the HDMI on the PlayStation 5, that helps. If you lower the PS5's resolution from 4K to 1080p, that helps, and it does help a little bit. Ultimately, that stuff all does like minor changes. So that people are saying, oh, I'm running it off of like 5 megabits off of like my cell phone's hotspot in the Bahamas, like you guys will be fine. And I'm like, that's great and all, but like I have 500 megabits at my work, and for some reason I'm still having problems. But yet my phone, I'll have maybe like a 20 meg connection and it'll be perfectly fine. It just won't care. So it just depends on the configuration and the setup. You guys can see this game, not a single struggle whatsoever. But on Siege, I mean, my Wi-Fi router is 10 feet all the way over there. I have Wi-Fi 6E. I have extenders. Like, I have, 2,000 megabit download speed. Like, no issues at all. But on Siege, you guys can notice it kind of hiccup just a smidge bit. But on something like this, it just doesn't care. So the quality of the games definitely, I feel like, affect it. The video quality. Another massive gripe about the unit is that it doesn't have Bluetooth. You can hook up your PS Link stuff. You can hook up a headphone jack in this slightly odd location. The USB-C is also in a very peculiar location. You got your power, you got the link, and then you got the volume up, volume down, and then each speakers are top heavy. A lot of people don't bring this up, but this part is actually smaller than your stereotypical PlayStation controller. It is shaped just a little bit differently. I know people kind of can't really tell super much. It's kind of hard to really see it unless you're kind of like feeling it. But people with, I think, bigger hands, if you like the feel of the PS5 controller, just expect that this is just going to be just a smidge smaller. Another big gripe that I feel like it has is, if you know anything about Wi-Fi networks, the 2.4 doesn't go as like high of a connection as 5 gigahertz goes. So if you're using something like this, or just you want better Wi-Fi and you're not very far away from the modem, you want to hook up to the 5 gigahertz network. However, this thing does not let you pick between 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. It just identifies whatever it sees, and it's like, all right, cool, this is all I see. Have a good one. You can adjust the light bar, which is pretty cool if you want to increase your battery life just a smidge bit. The mute button, you can use that, and you can tell whether or not it's lit up or not. You can mess with the vibration and the trigger haptics. Other than that, it's kind of bare bones and basic. They did add the battery percentage to one of the updates, so you can now see what your exact percentage is. Before, it just had just the bars. Brightness settings, to access this, you have to just swipe it over. And then the touchpad that you have on the 5 controller, you have it right here by just tapping on the screen. It is touch screen, but as far as I know, it doesn't really serve any massive purposes other than just to navigate its own UI. You can't navigate the PlayStation's UI with it or anything with that, which is understandable, but a little bit of a downer. So basically, my verdict on this thing is it's pretty nice. It's pretty lightweight. I'll admit it's really, 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 really amazing to be able to play, PS5 games while you're laying on the couch while your girl's watching videos or Netflix or something like that. Or if you just want to lay in bed, maybe have some YouTube on and just kick back. But it just makes you accessing games a lot more versatile. For someone like me, I'm really busy, so sometimes my lunch break is all the time that I have to play something. So this really, really helps me get an opportunity to play stuff on my lunch break. I've been pretty happy with it, and I've been pretty decently impressed with it. Just again, it is a streaming device. It doesn't actually hold any data, any games on the unit itself, which is kind of sad. So just keep that in mind. You will have to have your PS5 hardwired, and you will have to have this thing hooked up to a decent Wi-Fi connection for it to function. You could use your PS5 over Wi-Fi, but I've heard a lot of people, they just have nothing but problems with that because it's inconsistent. So if you got a high-speed internet and you got a decent phone that can give you a good hotspot, or where you plan on using it on work or whatever, has good Wi-Fi, you should be good. But if you don't have the best internet, you don't have best access to Wi-Fi, I probably don't recommend it. I've used it on like hospital visits on their guest Wi-Fi, which everybody knows isn't the best, and honestly, it would take like 3 to 4 minutes just to connect to the PlayStation 5. Like it was pretty unenjoyable. So definitely be mindful of that. They're always releasing updates to make this thing better over Wi-Fi connections, but you got good Wi-Fi, you'll love it. You don't have good Wi-Fi, you'll probably return it. But other than that, let me know what you guys think. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. Thank you.